Hey everyone, welcome to today's guided meditation. Just finishing up the setup for both YouTube and Instagram today. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us this morning. From last week's meditation, we're really just going to continue and carry over everything that we've kind of learned already. So if you want to think about last week, awareness and presence, it's going to be the same thing. So we're going to focus on stillness today. The most important thing to kind of recognize is you always have that inward space of center and calm and just being that feeling of feeling grounded, you could say. Everything is within you all the time. The most important thing to recognize in this type of meditation is that you're guiding your own ship. It's really important that if you feel distracted or you feel that there's a lot of turmoil going on inside of you, it's to recognize that you're observing it and don't allow yourself to get caught up in it. And it seems counterproductive in terms of the whole point of meditation is to not think, is to not have thought, and that's not necessarily the point of meditation. That's really one thing to kind of keep in mind about this, is that meditation is not about completely dropping your mind like that. If you're not used to it and you're not accustomed to it, it's going to take time. You want to think about it like a natural contraction and relaxation. You're so tense and there's so much mental activity going on all the time that it's going to take you a little bit to really feel comfortable letting go of it. And that's what we're really going to get into today, is that you have this place of stillness and you have this sense of presence and just straight pure observation and knowing. But in order to really tap into that, you need to get accustomed and used to just not putting so much effort and attention and power into thought. And getting used to things, and especially if you're just starting off in meditation, it can seem challenging at first. So today we're really going to go over different practices that we can do through this very, very simple and always available subtle shift in just how we perceive our own internal interactions. So what I recommend is that everyone find a comfortable place. Again, it's another gloomy, cloudy day in Seattle. So, it's okay to have some just natural lighting. You can turn off any of the lights. You have a sleep mask, you can put that on right now. If you want to lay down, go for it. Just make sure you don't fall asleep. If you're sitting in a little meditation pillow like I am, just make sure that you're sitting upright. And if you're sitting in a chair, just make sure you're not resting your back. Because if you see here, I do have a pretty big gap between myself and the wall. You always just want to make sure you're sitting nice and proper spinal alignment. Now, again, we're going to start off this meditation with 3 ohms. And then from there, we're just going to go right into it. The goal for today is about 30 minutes. It could be a little shorter. But ultimately, this is just going to be those next few seconds for you just to kind of calm yourself, allow yourself just to rest in your own sense of presence and being. Take a quick sip. And just admiring the birds outside. So if you will, we're going to begin. Please just close your eyes. Allow yourself just to listen to the breath, listen to the outside sounds. Listen to my voice like you're listening to music, effortlessly. Allow your breathing to arise from the deep belly around your belly button. If you need to, just put your hand gently on your stomach. You can feel your breath. Allow yourself just to listen to your own heartbeat, your own breathing, my voice. We do 4 taps of the bell to symbolize the 4 stages of Om. The 3 syllables A-U-M, and the 4th, silence. Allow yourself to simply watch, for that is all you actually do. No matter what the sensation is, no matter the sound, no matter the emotion or thought, all come to you, this sense of I, this sense of me. No thought has power. No emotion has sway. And there is no sensation that can be considered tempting without you. We must come to recognize that it is our own sense of awareness, our own presence, consciousness, that gives all happening power. A simple thought can be ignored, dismissed. But who is it that gives such power? What is it within you that seems some thoughts can be let go, but some you have to hold on to? You must come to the place of recognition where you understand fully that your life is a choice. Free will is a powerful, powerful tool in this existence. But many of us get caught up in the law of inertia, cause and effect. Because of this, it feels that if every thought we have is so intimate, that every emotion we have must pull us towards it. But you must see that everything can change with the snap of a finger. Like when you outgrow an old habit or an old fad, you no longer care about it. You let it go. But just as we see in life, there's others that hold on to them. Your mind, your heart, the sensations you enjoy, they apply to the same rules. You must choose what you want. It's a game of affection. You love what you love. And when you care about something, you get it done. So hear me, you must care about yourself. Your curiosity must be geared towards yourself, your true self. What within you is real and true, outside influence of others in life. What has always been here. As we age and the body goes through the changes of time, there's something that's always present, unchanging, unbound, limitless in its potential. And that is you, this sense of me. When you awake, the sense of self never drops. Your sense of recognition, of meanness, of I is present as long as you're conscious here. And even in dream, that sense of I and me remains our reference frame. To establish the space within, the distance between thought and emotion and physical sensation can only arise when we align with that pure sense of self. Within your own existence, you must recognize that everything you want is within you. So allow yourself to observe the thoughts with distance. Don't adhere to every thought your mind has. Don't follow the pull of every emotion. Simply watch. Simply observe. Very much so, it's like the quiet game we used to play as children. But you're choosing to be quiet because you're so entertained by the images in front of you, by the sounds you're listening to. Come to the recognition that through your observation of these sounds, you remember your true position in their play. Our own sense of beingness, our sense of self, is like a two-way door, an open passageway, you could say. Going outward, we see the world, reality, as we call it, where we can interact with people and other beings and listen to nature, be in nature. But we can also take that door, consciousness, inward and look within the realm of thought and emotion. For many, it's the space where the internal dialogue is constantly chattering about. And what I'm asking you is to end your entertainment of the internal experience and to simply listen, simply watch the external world in silence. Instead of focusing on the thoughts, shift your attention to the silence in between them. Instead of focusing on emotion, let it flow through you and recognize that it came like the clouds and it shall go like the clouds. Meditation is a game of recognition, And when you recognize your thoughts and emotions must get their power from you, your true position can be awakened before you. Allow yourself just to flow, to effortlessly be, for that is all we're doing in life. But when your heart and mind align with materialism, with matter, that every thought is true, that every emotion is true and absolute, you will live in chaos, for you idolize that which isn't real. You must come to terms with this. You determine your reality. If you believe thoughts are real and hold power over you, you will forever be their slave. If your sense of perception and being can be disturbed and led away by each emotion, then you're just like the misbehaved dog pulling its walker down the street. Your life will go wherever the emotion calls you. The mind will justify every ounce of its misused power, its abuse, just as the emotions will as well. But just because we're human doesn't mean we need to be controlled by our emotions or our thoughts. They are but powerful tools to experience life. But when you fail to recognize that the tool is a sharp blade, then more often than not, you'll get cut. Your suffering is your own, your joy is your own, your excitement is your own, your pain is your own. Everything that arises within your experience and how you choose to perceive it, to digest the experience, is your choice. But realize, again, come to terms that you have the power. You're worthy of the change, of the subtle shift in perception that all of this truly is. When you carry out the introspections, you'll discover the truth on your own. That thoughts are only as real as you make them. That emotions are only as real as you make them. That the sensations of the body are optional to adhere to. This is true power. This is the true power that we are all born with. The right to choose, the right to live. But you must also fully realize that life expresses itself in whatever way that you hold on to as truth within your own body, mind, and spirit. If you believe the path of change will be difficult, it will be. If you doubt yourself, you won't succeed. We live in a world where self-worth is so hard to come by now. And many of us, if not all of us, are programmed with our own self-destructive habits of worthiness. We don't see things just. We see things against me. We can't change. We're hopeless. These are all lies we tell ourselves that we've been conditioned to believe. But if you don't feel you're worthy of love and change and peace, then nothing externally can help you. We must realize that our true self is like the ocean floor. If life feels crazy and you throw an anchor, it has to hit the ground to grip it, to stop you from swaying. If you invest all your belief and identity in emotions, in thoughts, and external pleasures, then it's like your anchor's wildly getting carried around by the current in the waters, never touching ground, thus never anchoring you, rooting you, grounding you in the truth of your own being. Listen, sense the space between each emotion, each thought, each sensation, and see them evenly, see them equally as just phenomena, just the random happenings. You must come to see that no thought can have power and life without your belief in it. No emotion can carry you away if you don't believe in it, if you don't identify with it. Many of us live lives where we're truly never present or here. We just get swept away by whatever emotion or thought comes up within us. Into that way of life, you must question, is this truly me? The doorway of awakening can only arise through questioning everything. No question is too sacred. But you must fall in love with the truth. For when you recognize what's real and true within your own experience, the unchanging space within, your heart will align with that more. And when your heart aligns with it, everything else just ceases. Now, that's not saying mind will forever be gone and emotions will become cold and absent. In fact, quite the opposite. It will be more pure, based in love, based in oneness. And the emotions will come and go like the breeze. But you have a choice. What do you want? What is it you want in life? For each of us are unique and our paths are different. But are you living your own life or that of another? The beautiful opportunity that lies before you is you don't need to be anywhere. You don't need to do anything. Simply sit. Simply sit and observe. Question your thoughts. Where do they come from? What influence is this brought about? Is this really my problem? Is this an assumption or is this truth? Is this judgment or is this truth? But ultimately, learn to let go. Thoughts are suggestions, they're not absolute truths. Emotions are tools to help you connect with others. But when we live with self-interest, when we live in an egoic sense of expression, when we align with matter and falsehoods, we separate ourselves from life, from others. And the natural happenings of our existence will be fearful, filled with anger, judgment. But in truth, know that when you align with that which is false, illusion, maya, delusion, whatever word you choose, when you align with the imagination as such, you'll never fully be present in here to live. I hope within this meditation you've observed more space within you and realize that nothing's stopping you from living within that. Nothing's holding you back but yourself. No matter the actions of others or life, you have a choice. It may not feel like it. We may feel overwhelmed by thoughts, by emotions. But just like anything in life, to come back to this sense of space can be instinctual if you practice realigning yourself with it. Catch yourself when you feel that you're getting carried away. You must stop the wheel from spinning if you want it to go the other way. And when you do this, the space, the silence in between each thought and emotion gets wider, longer, bigger and bigger. Ultimately, until things settle down internally. And you're able to freely live without tension internally and externally. But you must challenge yourself, you must push yourself to question everything within your existence. That is what it takes. There is no quick pill. I cannot touch your forehead, say a mantra, and you'll start to wiggle and shake and be awakened and feel love and calm and peace. For those are all but temporary patches. You must carve out your own path for liberation. You must fully recognize and believe that you can become free from the pain and suffering of life. You must know that you're worthy, and you must be curious. But the most important thing, which aligns with curiosity, is that you must question. For all it takes is that subtle pause in our normal, habitual patterns. And in that silence, that space, that momentary stillness, the whole world can drop and unfold before you. But the opportunity can never arise if you just allow everything to happen. Question your initial reaction, question your judgments, question the impulse, question everything. And life, the universe will reward you. For you are your own teacher. You are your own slave master. You are also your own freedom fighter and liberator. Simply observe the happenings. Hold on to nothing. Simply sit, watch, and be. No matter where you were, no matter what you were doing, simply allow yourself to return. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I think that was about 30 minutes on the dot. Maybe a little less. One big note that definitely came up, a big impression that I kind of received was that wheel of inertia. So I'm not sure who was going through this or why, but come to see it kind of like, this singing bowl spinning, right? And it's a lot like those old school toys in the playgrounds. Anyone pretty much 20 and up should remember these. Those merry-go-round toys in the playground where you spin and spin and spin. You hold on, you try not to fall off and fly off. Well, your habits, your mental patterns, your emotional patterns are just like that spinning wheel. And those of us who attempted to jump on when it was spinning full force ultimately know that you'll get thrown real quick. So the most important thing to think about with this is this wheel, this pattern you've kind of set up throughout your life. It's constantly spinning. And as we invest more energy into it, it gets faster and faster, and it spins with more volatility, and just more chaos can be created from it. So when you're looking at yourself, you're looking within your own experience, the thoughts that are happening, the emotions that are arising, the physical sensations that seem to hold on to you. It's best to see this like that playground toy, that piece of equipment that it may seem very, very challenging at first to simply look at a thought and question and be like, is this real? Because for you, you're stuck in it. You can think about this like force. It's like gravity. It's like everything's spinning around you. And if you're holding on to that initial response, you're never going to get out of that trap. The wheel is just going to keep on spinning. And as discussed in the meditation, the point of questioning is to give you that opportunity, that distance, that space to simply catch yourself. One thing that we always used to teach in terms of looking after children, is have two voices. So you have one playful voice, like, oh, hey guys, let's go play some dodgeball. Let's go have fun. And then you have one serious voice, one stern, excuse me. And this isn't meant to be like a crazy authoritarian. It's meant to shock the child when something's dangerous that's going to happen. And I always tell people this. There's been 3 experiences in my life where I've had runners. I usually get the difficult kids. And they're the ones that didn't want to be there, that have bad disciplinary issues. And if it wasn't for that change of voice, that snapping, that shocking the system, those kids probably would have ran off into the street. But those of you that know me, I have a pretty big and booming voice, and I can be very stern if I want to. And a simple no or stop or just saying the child's name just kind of shocked and being like, what the heck was that? But it's enough time for you to respond. And it's these subtleties that life's always showing us, that it's the exact same way with your own system. If you're having an emotion of doubt, of pessimism, say you're walking in the hallway and you drop some papers and your mind just starts running wild, being like, you're an idiot, why'd you drop that? Just simply question it, like, are mistakes not normal? There's no one that lives without some type of mishap. Heck, I slammed my finger in the drawer the other day, and I open the drawer thousands of times. I've opened it up at least 2 or 3 times daily. But that one, I just pulled too hard, jammed my finger. And it's not something that I beat myself up over. And it's something that we need to recognize within our own self, that there's these mechanisms that we've carried with us for years, that are our first reaction. And they're that path of least resistance. And it's like that wheel that we talked about, the merry-go-round on the playground. The moment you really hold on to that initial doubt, that initial pessimistic feeling, the judgment, the hatred, you just imagine it. You just add a little bit more energy into that, and it just spins faster and faster. So in order to let go of the thoughts and emotions that control you in your life, you need to question them. And it's not going to be easy at first. It's not going to feel or appear easy at first. But really, the resistance isn't even your own. One thing that, I think will be beneficial for most people to understand is your mind and your emotions are like your spouse or anyone that's been in a relationship for a long time. You usually know how to push each other's buttons because there's that sense of intimacy. There's that sense of what that person's really like and what really sets them off. And your mind and your emotions and the body are the most intimate of intimate. It's pure sense. It's been around with you this entire existence, this entire life. And you know exactly what failure can do to you. You know exactly where your mind and your heart will jump to. And the question here is, if you know the play of the mind, the play of the heart, then why do you get caught in the trap every time? And this isn't a judgmental question. And a lot of people can experience this as a personal attack, and it's not. It's something that we need to ask ourselves, well, why does this get me every time? It's very much that old idiom, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And for most of our existence, it turns into a, fool me 1,000,010 times. But you still try to say, shame on you, shame on you. No, it's a lot of reasons why people are so unhappy nowadays is that we have no sense of accountability. That everything can be solved with a quick fix, that nothing requires work, that people can just do what they want. and not have any repercussions, and that people don't change, and you're always a piece of crap if you made one mistake. And the world is in such a massive state of delusion. We need to recognize that life is based on failure. Life is based on failure. I'll say it again. um, how did you learn how to walk? How did you learn how to talk? How did you learn how to write? How did you learn how to drive? Even those of you that don't know how to drive, how did you learn how to do anything in life? You failed. You failed repeatedly, not just failed once. Think about kids when they learn how to walk, they're dropping like pretty much every attempt, just right on their butt, right on their face, but they keep getting up. Now, what happened to that drive? Why did that go away, seemingly? Again, I ask only because you need to ask yourself. These are the questions we all need to ask ourselves. If we really want to live in a better world and we really want to create change that we all desire, you need to ask yourself this. It's not always an easy path. I think coming to the recognition and addressing your flaws on every sense of, the statement, literally every flaw you have, it can be destructive for the ego. But if you see it as a opportunity to grow and learn, it's really not that bad. Because you realize that wasn't necessarily you the entire time, just the impressions and conditionings of others. And you made it your own, but ultimately you can also end it on your own. Other than that, the biggest piece of advice I can say is just be consistent. Don't give up. It doesn't matter if you go the entire day and then remember on one last incident that it's like, oh, I need to question that thought. I need to question that emotion. Go for it. That's totally fine. Ultimately, it's that wheel that's going to keep spinning unless you stop it. So each attempt slows it down enough and creates more space. And again, it's all about the opportunity. If you invest your beingness, the power of your own sense of self, into anger, into doubt, into judgments and hatred and separativeness, then your entire life will just throw that in your lap, because that's what you're putting into the world. That's what you're putting into others before they even act. And if you're living life with that tension, you never have that space and that relaxation that we've chatted about. Most importantly, just remember you have the power to live a life that everything you want really can happen. But you have to put yourself in that space where you can recognize it. Because if we live in that life of tension and that path of least resistance, then more often than not, we're missing opportunities that are right in front of us, purely because of how we perceive the world. So just live, and let go, and try not to hold on to everything. In my years of this kind of journey and path, one of the most important lessons I've learned is life is not meant to be taken so seriously. Now, it's not meant to be perceived as a statement of, oh, you just kind of take every day off and you do whatever. No, that's not it at all. You're just not meant to hold on to everything with so much weight and seriousness and tension. Because if you do, you just create so much more pain in your life. When you hold on to a failure, you truly fail, because you cease to recognize what could be gained and how you can grow from it. And it's just as much as those who are arrogant and cocky, and which I used to be for many years in my existence. And these truths are things I've learned through the hard, facing the hard mirror of reality that is that what you are versus what you believe yourself to be. So you have to look at things fully and truly within yourself, that your mind, everything you think, every thought that you have, you invest the seriousness into it. I used an example of the ugly baby comment, and you can choose to say something or not in the last meditation, but it's not necessarily a joke. It's a weird and lighthearted way of saying a serious point, because there's been so many instances in all of our lives that we've had the choice between a thought to believe it or not. And the belief all comes in where we feel invested in, or where that self-interest kind of eats at our core, picks at us, whether it be our own insecurities or doubts. And more often than not, we live a life where we're holding ourselves back. And in my experience of others, I firmly believe that we're always holding ourselves back. So explore yourself, question your inner happenings, because if you don't, the wheel's going to keep on spinning. And when that happens, chaos happens. And when chaos happens, you get caught back in that web, in that dark cloud. So even if things do happen and you find life just going crazy, just ask yourself, what could be the lesson to learn from this? Maybe the lesson is some destructive people like that are a-holes and they're just not good people to be around. Sometimes that's your lesson. But sometimes the lesson is also, oh, they're just responding to my chaos and they can't control themselves because they care about me and I'm lashing out at them. Or they're only doubting themselves because I said a judgmental comment. Or they're not opening up to me because maybe I haven't been that kind to them all the time. Or they're not listening to me because all I do is complain about things. Or not, I don't ask others how their day's going. There's infinite things that go on in life that most of the time are just misperceptions. So you can only really discover what's that baseline of truth when you question things, question your emotions, question your thoughts, and ultimately let go of anything that's going to cause tension. Doesn't mean you forget, but it just means you don't let those things have power over you. So end the wheel. When you question your thoughts, you have more space that naturally kind of unfolds within your own experience. But the moment you hold on to it, it's going to smother you back up. So you have to remember that life is that push and pull, where if you don't question things, then they're just going to come right back and smother you. So it's all about recognizing what's happening within your internal space. And again, it's all about that question, because it's the question that's going to give you that instant release. It's going to give you the space within for you to actually see, okay, maybe that isn't true, or maybe I am getting carried away, or maybe blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, thank you so much. I got to get going. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps someone. And if you didn't join us for the live stream, they're going to be happening weekly. As always, enjoy the video. You can watch it for later. I'll put in timestamps for you so you don't have to listen to everything. But have a great day. Namaste. Bye. Oh, gosh. It's so hard to end these things when you have different devices. Let's end that one. Let's end that one.